Okay, everybody, what grass part 5 advantages and disadvantages of choosing zoysia grass for your lawn and landscape? We're almost at the end. You should be getting a pretty clear idea now as to what you want to choose for your lawn and landscape. Before we get into this one, um, I just want to remind us that we are nearing the end of the wet season. If you are thinking of planting a lawn, now is the time to do it. It's much better to plant your lawn in the wet season than it is in the dry season. And as we're talking about dry season, the next series I'm going to put up is going to be around sprinklers and sprinkler systems. That's my pet, that's my baby. I love implementing sprinkler systems. So you can look forward to that one. Subscribe on YouTube or like our page, Green Dynamics page. Go to the page, check out the other videos we have there. But for now, let's look at zoysia grass advantages and disadvantages. Plad out. All right, so like I said before, you would be able to find lots and lots of information regarding zoysia grass online, but you will be pressed to find direct comparison between zoysia grass and savanna grass. So for more on that, let's check out the clip from Ashad's farm and really get a clear idea as to how zoysia grass compares to savanna grass in terms of advantages and disadvantages. Let's go. So, what are the advantages of zoysia grass? Why should you choose zoysia grass over savanna grass? Zoysia grass has a lot of positive characteristics to it. One of the things, as I said, is how it feels, right? Zoysia grass feels very cushiony. It's a very luxurious grass to have. You know, if you are a person who uses your property for events and those kind of things, or you just have events there from time to time, or you really like your grass be part of your therapy, walking barefoot on zoysia grass would be really rewarding. Also, children love it. Children really, really love it, and it's very forgiving. If you fall down or any kind of thing like that, you're more cushioned falling on savanna grass, on zoysia grass than on the savanna grass. On a technical note, zoysia grass, there are a lot of chemicals you can use to kill weeds inside of zoysia grass, right? And this is something you can't really do in savanna grass as effectively, right? Savanna grass is much more sensitive to chemicals. It's much more sensitive to fertilizers and so on. So a lot of times people will come up to me and they'll say, well, here what, I want the savanna grass because it's easier to maintain than the turf grass. And that's really, really subjective, easier to maintain in terms of what, right? For one, the zoysia grass is much better at stifling weeds in it. If you plant zoysia grass next to bush, chances are in a couple of years the zoysia grass will spread and take over the bush. It's very, very aggressive. It'll get into areas where you didn't plant it, right? Savanna grass won't do that as much. So in terms of managing weeds and so on with zoysia grass, I would say it's easier, because if weeds get away in your savanna grass in a really bad way, a lot of times that calls for a replant. In terms of cutting, zoysia grass is more difficult to cut than savanna grass. And it's better to cut it with a lawnmower and to cut it at the same height all the time, or at least most of the time, right? A lot of people have people come and cut their grass with whackers. It's almost inconsequential with savanna grass, but with zoysia grass, I don't recommend it at all. Partly because it's difficult to tell how high the grass is getting if you're cutting it with a whacker. If you're just looking at it, it's difficult to tell. And a lot of times what the whacker man does is he will just clip the grass to get it even. but he's not necessarily adjusting the overall height of the grass. And what happens there is that the grass keeps getting taller and taller until it becomes more or less unmanageable, and then you have to cut it right down and it looks terrible, you know. So in terms of cutting with a lawnmower is much better with turf grass, much more consequential with turf grass than with savanna grass. If you find that translates into more maintenance or more difficult maintenance, then you know, that's your prerogative, that's your perspective. Yes. Right? But other than that, the zoysia grass, what other advantages do we have of zoysia grass?
It looks very nice.
Yes, I know most people find it looks very nice. It controls it's very drought tolerant.
What is that?
Zoysia grass comes through the dry season in most cases much better than savanna grass. Right? Even though it may curl up and do whatever, most people preserve their zoysia grass lawns through the dry season, while many people lose their savanna grass lawns through the dry season, especially through a harsh dry season. So that is a big benefit, I think, of having a zoysia grass lawn. A lawn like this, you could have it forever. Now, what are the disadvantages? Zoysia grass costs a little bit more, but in terms of establishing a lawn, the cost of the grass itself is not that consequential unless you're actually rolling it out. If you're rolling it out, then the cost savings you'll get from planting savanna grass as opposed to zoysia are important. But most people who roll out grass have money to burn anyway, so it wouldn't matter to them, right? Zoysia grass is very invasive, and so when we're planting it, you have to be careful what you're planting it next to. It will get into your flower beds. It will get into your pots or anything. If there's a crack in it, it will go across by your neighbor. It will climb up into your plants if you have plants just planted in the middle of the grass. All these things are very important. You need to think about these things when you're planting zoysia grass, right? The other disadvantage is that it is slow. Savanna grass lawn will establish in probably half the time of a zoysia grass lawn, right? But it might be slow, but it is deliberate, right? And if you plant it properly with a good pattern and whatnot, it could look good all through the process, and so you don't necessarily have to wait for the grass to be fully established before it looks good. But zoysia grass is slow, and some zoysias are slower even than others. Now, the slowness of the grass means that if it gets injured, right? If somebody comes home drunk and drives on the grass and skids out a section of the grass, or something happens, you do construction on at your property and you have zoysia grass planted and you open up some bare spots and whatnot, it might take a while for those spots to fill back in. While savanna grass, it's quicker, and so it will actually fill back in those spaces more quickly, and you get back to having a perfect lawn in a shorter period of time. So again, you know, it's really up to you. You have to think about the situation that you're in and decide which grass is best for you. Okay, so there you go. Zoysia grass, advantages and disadvantages. The thing is, on reviewing that, I realized that I left out two disadvantages of zoysia grass. One is that if you have a zoysia grass lawn and it does end up having weeds in it, it tends to show up those weeds more readily than savanna grass does. You'll much easier see them. If you see that new headquarters on the highway, you will clearly see what I'm talking about. Weeds like that, and you can see them from the northbound or southbound lane. Secondly, zoysia grass has the tendency to have brown patches when you cut it, right? I'll probably do a whole video about brown patches in zoysia grass, but that is a disadvantage of zoysia grass lawn. savanna grass will never have brown spots. When you cut it, that just doesn't happen. So anyway, there's our conclusion on advantages and disadvantages of zoysia grass. By now, you should have all the information you need to be able to make a solid decision as to which grass is best suited to your situation and to your preferences. If you have any questions, as usual, I look forward to hearing from you. Hit that message button below, hit that notification button for upcoming videos and different things that will benefit you in managing your lawn, landscape, and different things around your house. And until the next one, stay green, my friends.